What you forget.
Oh. Thank you.
Your phone.
Yeah. And a big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring the KRIM Community Spotlight Program. Good morning, Rim Country. Chris Higgins in the studio. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday morning and enjoyed that snow out there. I love it. It's beautiful. Love playing in it and doing everything. I know not everybody enjoys it as much as me, but it is a beautiful, beautiful morning out there. So this morning in the studio, we have Pastor Charles Proudfoot, and he's going to be talking about the Payson area food drive. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Chris?
Good. And this is something, we were talking before the program. Now 12, 13 years?
12 years at least. It was started basically as a response to a sudden increase in use of the food pantries in the area. And very ecumenical. It's not church-based. It's not people-based of any kind. The committee is totally ad hoc. There's no structure. People come and go as they have an interest in feeding hungry people. There are representatives of all the food banks in Rim Country that are part of the operation or are invited to be if they choose to. But other than that, it's just people who are interested in feeding hungry people. And it's been council people, it's been mayors, it's been community leaders, it's been all sorts of folks, service groups. Hallie Overman, for example, was one of the early people in the food bank, or in PFD. But it is designed to be a gathering operation for all the pantries. It doesn't leave anyone out. If you are giving food out to somebody, you can come to us and ask for either dollar donations to buy food. We operate with receipts. In other words, you go out and buy food, you bring us the receipt. If we have money, we'll pay you.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we're tight on money, but most of the time there's money to pay any receipt that comes in. We also collect canned goods just like everybody else, and they go to a town warehouse, which shall remain anonymous and secretive because it'll probably fall down soon.
Thank you, because I was going to say, it's it's so and so, or here's where it is, and you're like, okay, I won't say that.
But it does have heat in the winter, and it's dry, and it's where we can warehouse food, and then the pantries can draw on it as they have need. One of the things the pantries don't have, no pantry has a lot of storage.
Yeah.
And so it's all kind of an ebb and flow operation. And it just depends on who needs it. The warming center is certainly part of that. They have a pantry. St. Vincent de Paul, Community Presbyterian, Pine Strawberry, Christopher Creek. The brand new one is back again. It's a different church. The church right across from the high school. And that just changed hands.
Yes.
They just started Saturday distribution again.
Okay.
And I've contacted them and offered our support, and we'll be in touch. So that's what we do. We've done it now for at least 12 years. And I get to be the spokesperson. That's how that works. So the other members don't have to be publicly known. Some of them are. John Wilson helped me pick up a check from the realtors Friday night. And he's been our treasurer since we first started. But at that point, he was on town council.
Yes, I remember, and he would always plug the food drive when it was happening. And I remember it was like on cue, and it'd say, and don't forget, during announcements of council members, and he would always let people know.
Right. And so the goal was to never be out of food. And as far as we know, we've never run out of food. In the 12 years, we've been able to resource every pantry request that has come in.
And it was interesting. I have to just talk a little bit more about the history, because you used the acronym PFD, Payson Food Drive. It probably expanded over the years to Payson Area Food Drive because of all the different areas you mentioned, the outlying areas around Payson.
Actually, it started out that way. I
Okay.
just left area out. It really was an attempt to try and help, particularly the small food pantries,
Okay.
and to try and make that as smooth and seamless as possible. For a number of years, we had the tax credit. That went away because we do not actually feed people. So the tax credit goes to those organizations and institutions who deliver food to
Okay.
people. And that changed 2 years ago, and the state changed that. Interesting enough, Community Presbyterian Food Drive, Food Pantry, doesn't qualify either because it's a church.
Okay.
It's not a separate, it is a 501c3, the church is.
Mm-hmm.
But the Deacon's Food Pantry is part of the church, and the state doesn't recognize that distinction.
Okay.
So people can give to St. Vincent, Pine Strawberry. Those are both standalone 501c3s, and they can write a check right to them.
Mhm.
Or they can write it to us and put in the memo line St. Vincent or PAFD or Pine Strawberry, and we'll see that the check gets there.
Mm-hmm.
We just put it in an envelope and send it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But that way it counts in the great banner on the bottom of, oh, we're doing Facebook, right? I'll do it.
Yeah, so yes, if you're listening on the radio, you can also watch on the KRIM FM Facebook page and see the banner.
Across the bottom of the Payson Roundup.
Yeah, I know, and they show that banner every year that shows where the drive is at and how many pounds
Right.
of food has been collected. And the goal, I guess that is the goal, 10,000 pounds.
10,000 pounds and $25,000. We're running low on poundage because we don't have drop-off places. I'll list them in a second. But
Yes, okay.
we could use some more. So if you're out there listening and have a business and would like to have people come by and leave food, call me. I'll give you my number, 928-970-3547. Ask for a box. I have 2 in my truck.
There you go.
And I'd be happy to get you a box, and then you just call that number when it gets full and somebody comes by and empties it.
Mm-hmm. And if you're watching on our Facebook page, you can also comment that you would like a box, food
Right.
box at your business. And yeah, I'm sure. So how many did you say you currently have out?
We have only 4.
Okay.
Early on, the grocery stores would allow them, but corporate things have changed over the years, and no longer are they allowed at any of the food stores in town.
Okay.
And so there's one at Town Hall,
Mm-hmm.
there's one at the library,
Okay.
and those are out all year, because really, while there's a food drive now, people are always hungry. That's something that never goes away.
Yes.
And then there are 2 at Washington Federal Bank
Okay.
and PNC Bank.
Okay.
And those 2 banks have had boxes off and on. Washington Federal, since they started, they've had one every year. PNC has had it when it was BBVA, and then they were not for a while, and I talked to the new manager. He says, bring it in. Put it out here, it can't hurt. So those are the 4 boxes we have out now. If you want to send a check and don't know how to do that, P.O. Box 703, let me make sure I get it right. 703 here in Payson will get it directly to our treasurer, who will then get it in the paper. We're doing very well. We have this was Friday's paper. We have over $15,000 of our goal of 25 collected.
That's great. Yes.
Now, the way the food works, I think I mentioned that. The banks give us receipts for food they've purchased. And it can be a United Food Bank receipt. In other words, if they've gotten from United Food Bank, which is, I think, 20 cents a pound,
Okay.
and they want reimbursement for that, then they can turn in that receipt, and we'll reimburse up until we don't have any money. But basically, cash register receipts from any place they bought food will work. We have, in a couple of instances where food banks are really desperate and don't have any cash up front, I will go to the grocery store and use my own credit card. And I'll buy $500 worth of food, and then I'll submit a receipt to the Payson Area Food Drive, and they reimburse me. So we can do it that way if we have to, but most of the time the pantries have enough cash on hand or that they can go and buy, and then that reimburses. I did have someone stop me in the grocery store yesterday, I think it was, and say, "Oh, we want to get you a check." This will be a fun aside. "We missed you at wine tasting." And I said, "Oh, it's too late." I said, No, it's never too late.
Yes.
We can use the food and the money all through the year. That's the reality.
Yes, and the food drive, what are the actual dates of this annual food drive?
We try and start before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We barely made it this year. And we go to Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay, which is in February.
Which is the first Sunday of February. And the reason for that is there is a religious ecumenical interfaith group called Super Bowl, SOUPERBOWL, that was started by a high school group in North Carolina about 25 years ago. And they advertise and provide logos, etc., for churches to have a Super Bowl drive.
Oh, wow.
And so that ends up being about, that's a big final push for us. And so we go through that Sunday so that those churches in town, and there are about 5, that kind of actually compete with each other about how much they're putting in. And so we go till Super Bowl Sunday for the drive.
Gotcha. And I have to comment, have a few people watching our Facebook Live, and one of them is Randy Roberson. And he commented, "These guys do great work." And Randy watching down there in Tonto Basin. And I think he said, I forget if he said they got a little dusting down there from the snowstorm, or I think just on the mountains, though, around them. You could see the snow. Also, and we can ask Clifford Lane, he's watching. Maybe, Clifford, would you like a box? It's a little far, though. He's in southern Illinois. He works for the county sheriff there, so I'm sure the sheriff's office, they wouldn't mind having a box.
Okay, Clifford, what county in southern Illinois?
Yeah, now it's funny because so many of our guests have a connection to southern Illinois.
Yeah, I served a church in Pinckneyville in Perry County.
So there we go, Clifford. Another southern Illinois connection. It is funny, yeah.
Down in Little Egypt, Clifford.
Yeah. Randy said, "Just dirt, dust here. Snow on the hills, but no snow on the ground," down there at Randy's in Tonto Basin. So again, if you're a business, if you're a business owner or a manager would like a box at your business, my goodness, when you're talking about boxes, I thought of quite a few businesses that came to mind that maybe participate in other fundraisers, drives, events, and I'm sure that there's some out there that hopefully will be contacting you. But again, finding out, or when it changed, that you can't have boxes in the supermarkets. I remember that's so convenient, to where people could just go shopping. Oh yeah, they see the box, or they remember they buy a few extra cans each time, put them in there, and that's just very, very nice. But there's so many other businesses around town that I'm sure you'll get more boxes here soon out and about. And again, Chuck has a couple in the back of his truck. So comment on our Facebook Live. Give him a call. What is your phone number one more time? 928-970-3547. There we go. And it's just that easy.
It's a really good, flip phone.
Yeah.
It's not even a smartphone.
No, that's... There, you see fewer and fewer flip phones these days. It's almost like you have to pay extra, or they make it harder for you to keep the flip phones anymore.
That's right.
Yeah. So again, talking Payson Area Food Drive with Chuck Proudfoot. And again, this is an annual food drive. It's been going on now 12
years.
12 years. So a long time here in Payson, helping, goodness, thousands of people over the years. And
It is. We run about 2,800 a month. I haven't talked to Pine Strawberry in the last couple of weeks, but both Presbyterian and St. Vincent are seeing at least a 25% increase year over year this year, maybe even approaching 50%. And I think another thing I'd say, because I wear another hat around town, and that's Homeless Task Force, if you have a choice between paying your mortgage and buying food, pay the mortgage. Come to the food bank, get food. I can't house you if you're homeless. I've simply got, there's no housing stock. So if it's a choice between home or food, definitely keep the home. Come see us. Food banks are open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. St. Vincent, Tuesday and Wednesday, 12:15 to 2:30, I think. That's close. It may be 12:30 to 2:15. I keep getting those confused. 12 to 2 would be safe. Presbyterian, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. to 1, and Tuesday, 5:30 to 7:30. The Church of God, that's who it is open on Saturdays, 10 to noon. Pine Strawberry is open the first Thursday of the month, and that's a monthly distribution. So those are the hours of where you can go. The Pine Strawberry is monthly. The Community Presbyterian Deacons Food Bank is every other week. Same is true of St. Vincent de Paul. So it's possible for you to get a food box each week, all 4 weeks.
And then there's also this past weekend, there's an event, Payson Market on the Move, which also is another wonderful event. It's the second Saturday of every month, and that runs through May, and where you can get a box of produce, of food, different items. It varies from month to month, and there might be some things that you don't use, you don't need, but there could be some things in there, and it's $15 for that box of food. So that gets you, I think, up to 60 pounds of the food that they have there. So that's another just a place where people can go that they can stretch their dollar, that it can really help them out.
Guidelines for food bank being eligible. The two big food banks in town have no eligibility requirements. If you ask for food, you will get food. They do have to certify whether you're under 200% of the federal poverty level. If you are, you then qualify for commodities.
Wow.
Okay? Commodities are given out all the time as long as you meet that guideline. But if you're hungry and your income is over 200% of the federal poverty level for Gila County, you can still get food.
Okay.
There is no upper limit on getting food. It's what food you get. Okay. So most of the commodities are meat and dairy products. So that those are things that are bought through the federal commodity program and then are distributed to food banks, and hence to pantries. The difference between a food bank and a food pantry, the food bank is more of a wholesaler, and they can receive, matter of fact, federal food banks have to be able to receive railroad carloads of product.
Wow.
And so this is one of the little Reagan era. This goes back a long ways. That Reagan allowed manufacturers with mislabeled products. It says 16 ounces in the Branner run that had only 14 in it.
Okay.
They can donate that to a food bank and write off the retail cost.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that's where a lot of the major contributions into the food bank system come from, is from processing operations that something missed. And a lot of those are so high speed, by the time you stop it, it's you've run 10,000.
Well, and that's great that they have that program, because the items, the food, whatever it is, the product doesn't get thrown away.
Right.
Because if there wasn't an avenue where food manufacturers could get, what they needed to get, to cover the
Right.
cost, then they probably would just end up tossing it.
They'd have to.
Yeah.
Because you can't unpackage.
Yeah.
In southern Illinois, speaking of the
Yeah.
guy from southern Illinois,
Yeah.
we had a pudding processing plant in town.
Oh.
The Royal Pudding. Well, they put, powdered pudding in boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Those machines do 200 boxes a minute.
Wow.
And if chocolate got into vanilla, by the time they got it stopped, they had 1,000 boxes that had the wrong product
That
in
they
it.
couldn't sell.
They couldn't sell.
So they would make it to a food bank.
Right.
Wow. So that's interesting. I never really thought about that, the difference between a food bank, a food pantry, what that meant as far as requirements or how they operated.
Food pantries
Mhm.
distribute to retail, or distribute food to people.
Okay.
Now, St. Mary's is both a bank and a pantry, for example, in the valley. They're, by the way, the prototype food bank in the United States.
Wow.
They were the very first, and they coined the word.
Really?
They were the ones that did it.
Wow.
And
that's St. Mary's.
St. Mary's. The two biggies in the state.
There's that train. That train is wants to leave the station, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure who it is, but it's not from here. So maybe it's another internet listener who knows my own phone number.
That's funny.
Anyway,
I
derailed my train of thought, no pun intended.
No, so yeah, St. Mary's Food Bank, the first food bank in the country. That's and I was just looking that up. It's interesting. What do you know when that started approximately?
I'm not sure.
I love the
I first heard the term when I was in Southern Illinois in the early '80s. My guess is it started even as early as the '60s.
Wow.
The Reagan administration really popularized the term food bank, and put Department of Agriculture kind of in charge of making sure that these things were up and running around the country.
Gotcha. So it's been a 501c3 feeding the hungry since 1967.
Okay.
Yeah, 1967. Wow. Wow. Yeah, so you're looking at 55 years.
Yeah.
Phew.
And hunger never goes away. One of the things that I hear all the time, particularly when I was the pastor at Community Presbyterian, where I had direct connection to the food bank. Well, don't just the same people come? Yeah, to some extent.
Mm.
Generally, the time on is about 6 months. And that changes. Some people will be off for a year or two, and they'll be back on.
Mm-hmm.
There's some, maybe 10% are just there.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, that's because of disabling conditions. That's because and I've become a firm believer that some people, if they don't have bad luck, have no luck at all. And they just claw themselves out and get established, and something else comes along and they're back again. But it is not just feeding people who don't want to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much dealing with people in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Many times medical or loss of job, or even an injury that just upsets the apple cart enough that you can't make everything work.
Mm-hmm.
And most of American society lives paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
That's the blunt reality. And when you don't have a paycheck coming in, it gets hard quick.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, then it goes back to what do you pay? Do you pay your mortgage? Do you pay your utilities?
Right.
Or do you buy food? And as you stated earlier, if you're just tuning in or just didn't hear it before, not advice, but the recommendation, and definitely pay your mortgage. stay in your home, and there's a lot of different ways that you can get food and you can get help there.
There's also mortgage help.
Yes.
And so that's another whole area which is not the subject of this discussion.
Yeah.
But there are, and particularly now with the America Rescue Plan and the, what was it, inflation something, there is money for housing. And what's happened now, that's really filtered down to rural housing. We have more money available for emergency housing vouchers than we've ever had in Gila County. Now, they're getting used as fast as we can get them, but there's more money in that program. So, back to food. If you have a choice, you definitely want to come get the food.
And there's also help and programs for utilities
Right.
as well here, and that information is out there, it's available, and it really comes down to, I think in this community, I know I've been talked to a few people involved with whether the county or with different programs. There are so many programs out there between churches, different this Payson area food drive, and places where you can get help, you can get assistance, and it's really great that we're in a community like that. Another one for food, the Warming Center, they have their community dinner every night at 5 p.m. And anyone is welcome to go to that dinner if you'd like to, have dinner and take the family, or if you want to go over there yourself. And it's not only about the food, but it's about being with other people, being able to, if you are more isolated and you don't have friends or a group of people that that you can just spend time with, then you can go over there, and that's at 5 p.m. at the Lutheran Church. That is the Mount Cross Lutheran Church. Yeah.
So, the one on 260.
Yes, I know. Right there on 260.
Right next to Safeway.
That's right. And again, if you're listening and you would like a box, if you are a business owner, a manager, or you would like a box in your business, please give Chuck a call, and that number one more time. 928-970-3547. Or if you're watching on our Facebook Live, you can comment there as well, and we'll get in touch with him. We'll let him know. And can you mention the businesses that currently have boxes?
Currently boxes, yes. Go by and patronize these folks. Leave food. PNC Bank, down on what would be Frontier and Beeline, I think.
Frontier and Beeline, yeah.
Washington Federal, which is the old Bank of America for you that have been around a long time, which is on Beeline just below 260. The Payson Library. I don't know whether they're still doing it or not, but if you are disabled and want to give food, call the library. Someone will come out and take it in. They were doing that all during COVID, and I'll watch Emily will call me and say, no, never again. But and the town hall, right inside the town hall door is a box, and you can leave stuff there too.
All right. And again, if you want to get signed up, if you would like to have a box in your business, just give Chuck a call or send us a message. Let us know, and we can definitely get in touch with him. So there you go. It's 10:30.
It's 10:30. Thank you.
10:30. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing. Again, Payson Area Food Drive, 12th annual. And it'd be great if you can help out and getting closer to the goal, but still need, at 10,000 pounds of food, and you are looking to collect
$30,000 or $25,000.
25,000 pounds,
$25,000 and 15,000 pounds.
15,000 pounds, and right at about under 2,000, or what is it at?
Yeah, it's about 1,500, just under 2,000 pounds of food, and we are at $15,000 already. So that's really good. Don't stop.
Yeah, no, yeah. You keep giving money because, as you said, even though the drive ends Super Bowl weekend, it's an all-year event to where you're always putting money in the bank and for the following year. So that is great. Well, again, thank you, Chuck, for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching this morning. Randy Roberson, have a great rest of your week down there in Tunnel Payson. And time to get back to the music with some Led Zeppelin, U2, ZZ Top, Rolling Stones, and more. But first, let's get a quick update from the National Weather Service.
Good weather forecast for Payson and surrounding areas.
I'm glad you've got a clock, because I don't.
All right, guys, see you later.